What if the worst day of your life was not the end of your story, but the moment God finally got your attention? What would happen to your faith if everything you built, everything you loved, was taken from you in a single day? Not slowly, not over years, all at once. Because that is exactly what happened to Job. My friend, welcome back. The last time we were together, we watched Job's world collapse. Messenger after messenger arrived, each one carrying news worse than the last. His children were gone, his wealth vanished. Everything he had spent a lifetime building destroyed. And as if that were not enough, his own body began to fail him. Boils covered his skin, pain throughout his body, his strength disappeared. The man who once sat in honor now sat in ashes. And yet, in the middle of all that devastation, Job did something almost unthinkable. He worshipped. Most people think the story ends there, but the ashes were not the end. Because what happened next was something no one expected. When God finally spoke, He did not give Job an explanation. He gave him an encounter. And inside that encounter, something changed. Not only in Job's circumstances later, but deep inside his heart. Something he had carried through all the suffering was finally removed. And by the end of this conversation, you may begin to see what that was. Job, my brother, welcome back to the table.
Thank you, Apostle Paul. It is good to sit at this table again. Though the last time we spoke, we left my story in a very heavy place. Yet I am grateful for the chance to continue the conversation.
Job, though many have heard your name, not all have truly considered the weight of your story. So let us speak as though some are hearing it for the very first time. When we last sat together, we left you in the midst of great devastation. Though others were near, the voice your soul longed for most was the voice of God. So tell me, Job, when the Lord finally answered you, was it what you expected?
Yes, He did answer me. But not in the way I expected. It was not what I expected, but it was what I needed. I had longed for explanation. I had hoped for reasons. I had imagined that if the Lord spoke, He might finally lay the matter out before me. Why this had happened, why such sorrow had been permitted, why the righteous could be brought so low. But when He answered, He did not come with an explanation. He came with His presence. And He came in the whirlwind. There, in the place of my grief, in the place of my questioning, the Lord answered out of the storm. Not in the way I would have chosen, not with the answers I thought I needed, but with a revelation greater than explanation. And in that moment, everything I thought I understood about God suddenly felt too small. I had spoken of Him before. I had honored Him. I had sought to walk uprightly before Him. But this was different. This was not the God I had discussed, not the God others had described, not the God held at a distance by tradition or understanding. This was the living God, the all-powerful, all-knowing, sovereign Lord. And then He began to speak.
Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? To what were its foundations fastened? Or who laid its cornerstone when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut in the sea with doors when it burst forth and issued from the womb, when I made the clouds its garment and thick darkness its swaddling band? When I fixed my limit for it and set bars and doors? When I said, "This far you may come, but no farther. And here your proud waves must stop. Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, and the wicked be shaken out of it? Have you entered the springs of the sea, or have you walked in search of the depths? Have you entered the treasury of snow, or have you seen the treasury of hail, which I have reserved for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war? Who has divided a channel for the overflowing water, or a path for the thunderbolt, to cause it to rain on a land where there is no one, on the wilderness in which there is no man, to satisfy the desolate waste, and cause to spring forth the growth of tender grass? Has the rain a father? Or who has begotten the drops of dew? Can you lift up your voice to the clouds, that an abundance of water may cover you? Can you send out lightnings, that they may go, and say to you, here we are? Who has put wisdom in the mind? Or who has given understanding to the heart? Who can number the clouds by wisdom? Or who can pour out the bottles of heaven when the dust hardens in clumps and the clods cling together? Can you hunt the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions when they crouch in their dens, or lurk in their lairs to lie in wait? Who provides food for the raven when its young ones cry to God and wander about for lack of food? Do you know the time when the wild mountain goats bear young? Or can you mark when the deer gives birth? Can you number the months that they fulfill? Or do you know the time when they bear young? Have you given the horse strength? Have you clothed his neck with thunder? Can you frighten him like a locust? His majestic snorting strikes terror. Does the eagle mount up at your command and make its nest on high? Shall the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? He who rebukes God, let him answer it.
I began to see that my suffering had not meant his absence. My lack of understanding had not meant his lack of care. The Lord was not speaking merely to establish his authority, though his authority was unmistakable. He was revealing the vastness of his wisdom, the reach of his attention, the depth of his sustaining power. He was showing me the world he governs, the things he watches over, the things he provides for, the things no human eye notices, and yet are never forgotten by him. And slowly, I began to understand that the God who sustains the snow, the sea, and the wild animals in hidden mountains is not careless with the lives of his children.
So the turning point in your story was not the restoration. It was the encounter.
Yes, in time my health returned, my strength returned, my household was rebuilt. But those things were not the deepest healing. The deepest restoration was this. Before the ashes, I honored God. After the ashes, I trusted him. I had known about him before, but now I knew him, and that changed everything.
My friend, listen carefully to what Job just shared. God did not give him explanations. He gave him himself. And sometimes the transformation we are longing for does not begin with answers. It begins with encounter. Job, before we close today, for the person listening right now who is questioning God's character, who cannot see the bigger picture, what would you want to leave with them?
I do not know what burden you may be carrying today. Perhaps you are asking questions that seem to rise into silence. Perhaps you are wondering whether God truly sees what you are walking through. I understand that place more than most. But hear this. The greatness of God does not make him distant. It means his care reaches further than we can imagine. If he watches over the mountains, if he provides for creatures hidden from human eyes, then your life has not escaped his attention. Stay with him, even when you do not yet understand. It is not wrong to ask questions. It is not wrong to grieve. But do not assume that what you cannot see means God is absent. There were things happening in realms I could not see. There was purpose unfolding beyond my understanding. I could not see the whole story, but God could, and He was not careless with my life, and nor is He with yours. If our Creator is attentive to the birth of a wild animal in the mountains, if He commands the sea and feeds the lion, He is not inattentive to you. You may not always understand His thoughts, but you can trust His heart. Stay with Him long enough to see that He is larger than your fear and kinder than your doubt. My friend, I pray that God removes your fears and the small thoughts you may carry about who He is, just as He did for me.
And there you have it, my friends. Before we close today, I want to invite you into one simple reflection. In the companion scripture guide and worksheet for this episode, you will find just one question. Here it is. Where in your life right now might God be inviting you to trust His heart, even though you cannot yet see His reasons? Write it down, sit with it, bring it honestly before the Lord. Sometimes transformation begins not when we solve the mystery, but when we remain with God inside it. Beloved, this ends our worship series, and before we step into our next series, we will be doing something a little different for the next few weeks. Instead of another episode right away, the creators and partners behind these stories will be gathering live Wednesdays at noon. They will reflect on what we have walked through together in the Heart First series and now the worship series. They will answer questions, share the vision, and invite you to meet the people who have been quietly shaping this shared space. Think of it as pulling back the curtain for a moment, not an ending, but a deeper look into the journey. You are warmly invited to join those conversations. If today's conversation met you personally, I gently invite you to remain connected here in this shared space. Please like and subscribe by ringing the bell and selecting all so you can be notified when new episodes release. You can also download the complimentary scripture companion guide and worksheet linked below. Leave a reflection or comment. Your voice matters here. And if your heart resonates deeply with what we are building together, you are welcome to explore the Heart First community and the Heart First Founders Club. No pressure, just an open invitation. Until we meet again, the table remains set. And remember, we're walking this journey together.